Here.
Jill Kravitz here. Brian Peruta. Joseph Perillo Jr. John Ungeyer.
Here.
Joseph Albert.
Here.
Frank Alamo.
Here.
Okay, for tonight's meeting, I will seat Frank Alimo as a full voting member. Fire evacuation announcement. In case of fire, there are two ways to exit the chambers. To my left, exit through the council chamber doors, turn left and walk down one flight of stairs and out of the building, or exit the door to the rear of these chambers. In either case, once outside of the building, walk a safe distance away from the building. Can we stand for Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is executive session. We have nothing this evening, Jim, right?
No.
Okay. Public participation, issues of concern that are not on tonight's agenda. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to address the commission? Okay. Public hearings, none scheduled. Correspondence. What do we have, Jim?
In your packet, you'll find three notice of actions from the Enfield Planning and Zoning Commission dated March 21st, 2013, April 4th, 2013, and April 18th, 2013. Also in your package is a application for pesticide application that is for another pond to be sprayed, and that is the freshwater pond, and that was submitted by the town of Enfield. That is for the control of invasive and excessive aquatic vegetation to improve water quality for habitat and aesthetic purposes. Okay, and also you'll find the CFL News, Volume 18, Issue 1, which is the March 2013 edition.
Great. Okay.
That's it.
Go ahead. Okay, Commissioner correspondence? Does anybody have anything they'd like to discuss? Roby? No. Donna? Joe?
Jim,
Yeah.
I got actually a few questions. Maybe you can answer them, maybe you can't. Freshwater Brook cleanup, 91 area. We had discussed about that. I think that was last year, maybe in the fall.
Yeah, there was a grant proposal put together to DEEP Emergency Management. It was what they call a hazard mitigation grant program. We submitted an application to do a cleanup of brush and some sediment from 91 to Route 5. And I think the amount of the grant that we requested was $850,000.
Mm-hmm.
And as of now, I haven't heard anything either way.
Okay.
So that's still out there.
All right, Freshwater Brook. Any news on that? I know that was going through some litigations at one time.
It's farther down.
Right, down here in Thompsonville.
Yeah, no, I don't have any news on that.
Okay, if you could just find out where we
Okay.
stand up with that also. And do you have a list of what work's gonna be done by Public Works for cleanups schedule for their catch basins? I know we discussed that, I think, at one time.
Yeah, when P.O. Hawks was here, he had come in a few times prior to you sitting with us, and they went over a maintenance schedule, what areas they were going to, and that kind of just fell to the wayside.
Okay.
So, I mean, they should be giving us ideas of what parts of town they're in, what type of schedule. There's got to be something in his files somewhere on that. I
Okay.
mean, maybe even Jose might have some idea. I think that's what Joe's looking for.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll check with the current Public Works Director, Jonathan Bilmes, and Dave Tuttle. I know there was some discussion, just candid discussion with some highway workers that they were gearing up for that, do some cleaning.
Right. It's the time of year.
It's
I
the time of
think,
year they start
so.
doing
Right.
that. So I'll find out what their schedule is.
All right. And any update on how the Scannick River project went, the Abbey Town Farm Road project? I know that's pretty much, but has anybody been out there to visit it? Visit it to see how it's holding up?
I did. They were looking for a closeout on that contract. I believe it was in the fall. And what I did was I went out there and looked at the planting area that was proposed in the original permit that was approved by this agency. There was an area north of the bridge that was planted as part of a mitigation, and that was there and growing well. And there was a sediment basin on the south side of the bridge, and that was clean and functioning. So that, you know, I okayed the sign off for John Cabebo to move forward with that.
And I just had one other quick question. Actually, make that two. The Scannick River Bridge in Potter Hollow, that area there, do we have any signs posted as far as, wetlands itself? I know that with the park being open, it's gonna be used quite a bit, but, as far as keeping an eye on that, the cleanliness, or is that something that maybe we can
Is that state-owned property?
Yeah.
talk to the state
You're
on?
referring to the South Maple Street Bridge and then?
Yeah, South Maple,
The park, okay, and
Potter
it's all
Hollow.
DEP land now.
Right.
That's owned by DEEP, I'm sorry. And I'm sure they have some signage down there. They have waste containers for garbage. Passive recreation is a allowable use in a wetland. You know, as long as the one's digging holes or filling things in, it's, you know, it's recreation along the Scantic River. Is that what you're concerned about, what activities
Well,
are?
I just wanted to further on down the Scannick River, up or down, just to make sure that there's, nothing being dumped there, whether it be on town property or state property.
Yeah.
In that area, I didn't know if there was, any concerns with the neighbors or anything that you heard from.
No, I haven't heard anything. Most of that area is only accessible by walking.
Okay.
There's not any roads that get anywhere close along there.
And then I think the last question I had was an update on town roads that are being worked on right now.
Okay.
I know there's an area over, I think, off of Raffia Road, that they're doing some street construction over there, ripping up the street. I think putting sewers in. But I wasn't sure if anybody's been out there to visit that.
Yeah, the only time that becomes
If there's wetlands.
comes into this agency is if it has some effects on the wetlands, if it's within a regulated area, if the activities being.
I know there's some escarpments off of those backyards and stuff. I was just wondering if they bring, I don't recall the application, that's why I was wondering if it was under Rose projects or something like that, if there was any information on that.
The last one that would have had an effect on escarpment was, I believe it's the end of Chief Street, and that did come in as an application, and that was completed in the fall. It's been seeded. I was out there several times looking at that. I think it was Chief Street. Does that sound right?
Yeah, the name of the street sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah, but off of Raffia Road, there
Yeah.
was one, it was completed. They're still working on the rest of the contract, but that part that had something to do
Okay.
with the escarpment is
Okay.
completed. There's been catch basins put in there to control the runoff. It doesn't just run off the edge of the road anymore. There was drop structures put in, so the water is released down low instead of going down the hill. And again, the whole area was filled back in, so it's not a vertical steep, vertical slope. And it was seeded and actually matted with a erosion control mat to hold the bank until the vegetation is established, and all that's working good. So. But as far as future projects, if they don't contain any wetland, if any
Correct.
no work is being done, you won't have an application for it.
Correct.
So I think the ones that are being constructed this year don't have any involvement with wetlands or escarpments. There are some being released, ones that are being designed over the winter and are going out for contract this year. I think only one of those, they had south and North River Street, and actually took those off the list. Those are next to the Connecticut River, and actually they were removed from that contract for now. So I don't think there's anything that would be coming in front of it. You know, we look at it. If there's
Right.
anything, you'll definitely see it.
All right. And that's all I have tonight.
Okay.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
What about Bass Road? That's right by the condominiums that had the problem off of Steel. And then beside Bass Road on the other side, on the south side of the road, there's a brook there. Hadn't thought of that until you mentioned that. So there is a brook there, plus the problems we had on the other side of the road.
Yeah, that
Steel.
but those brook is behind the houses, which is more than 100 feet from Bass Road. So again, that's, yeah, and that was let out last year. So if it, during that design, if it wasn't brought to your attention, then I, you know, but
Too late?
too late. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
John? Anything? Frank? All set? Okay, I just wanted to congratulate Donna. She has completed the 2012 Municipal Inland Wetland and Commissioner Training Program, which is a pretty intensive three-part course given by UConn. So congratulations. We'll keep this in your file, in your volunteer file. Okay, site visit updates. Does anybody have anything to report or discuss? No? Okay. Approval of minutes, March 5th, 2013, regular meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 5th, 2013.
Okay, motion made by Jill. Second by Donna. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, opposed? Abstain? One abstention. Okay. Wetland agent report. I'm not putting you on the spot.
All is well. What I did hand out today in front of you is the current building permit approvals list from February 5th to today. And as you'll see, there's many sheds and pools and decks being built throughout the town. And just to review, what I do is when an application comes in, I get an alert through Munis. I open up that application, I look at the address, I go to our GIS site, I pull up that address, I look at escarpments, I look at wetlands, I look at the contours to see if what they're proposing there would have any effects on anything that we would be concerned about. And if not, then I approve it. And as you can see, they're all just small sheds, and they're away from this. Once in a while, we'll get something that has an escarpment nearby, and I'll contact the applicant and ask them to move it at least 25 feet away from the edge of the slope. And they agree to that, and then I approve the permit. So any sheds that I do see come in escarpments, they're at least 25 feet away.
And you go out after and approve, I mean, you do a final sign off?
There's no CO for a shed.
So how do we know that they're being built correctly? Just,
We don't.
okay. I didn't know that. Go right ahead, Joe.
All right, so we don't know that they're being built correctly. So what you're saying is that they could build it, they could say they're building it, and nobody physically goes out there and checks it
From the wetlands
completed.
perspective?
when it's completed for wetlands?
No, I don't go out and check them.
See, I don't know, I have a kind of a problem with that, and just in the fact that if he builds a shed and he puts it 5 feet or 20 feet into the wetlands, but he's, you said it's okay to do it, he decides that he doesn't want it underneath there. Now, let's just say something happens, now it's encroaching on that, does that fall back on us?
No, because the permit is written, it's written right in the permit that it has to be located 25 feet away. And what they have to do as part of their permit application is submit a sketch. And each of those sketches that I approve, if they don't show me a dimension 25 feet away from the edge, then I ask them to come in and do that.
Right.
And only after they put it on paper do I approve it.
Okay.
Now, if we want to chase every shed around, that's another level of work. That,
Right, I understand that.
But I think I've done my part by questioning it, to having them come in, put it on paper, and I guess I'm a trusting person.
I don't know that we have the manpower to go out there.
Right.
I mean, I'm just looking day after day here, but, yeah.
And so what is the recourse? If somebody goes to sell their house and they have something in the wrong area, then they either have to tear it down or have some type of problem
Yeah.
with actually selling their property?
To keep it in perspective, these are normally 6 by 10 pre-made sheds on stone. So they're not large structures, they're not permanent structures that couldn't be moved.
What about the pools?
Pools are never in close to escarpments, and
Do you check the pools after you get a permit?
No, check the pools, no,
But again, you get the same
same sketch,
sketch that shows the location of the pool.
correct. And most pools are close to the house, it's, tied into some kind of a deck or something.
Madam Chair, if I may?
Sure,
May I add
go
something?
right
I
ahead.
think some of the questions are a function of the building
Right.
inspector and building department. I believe they
Yeah.
give the final approval if it's permitted, the permit's pulled.
Right.
So it would have to be in the location of their sketch.
Yeah, and
I believe the building inspector or the building department falls under them to do a final inspection.
And
And
that's-
we could check on that,
yeah,
but I
that's
believe
easy
that's the
enough for me
process.
to talk to them and say, this one here, or this one has needs a little more attention, so when you're out there to do your final inspection, just check the location for me. And I don't think that's gonna be a big problem, so I could do that.
So they
Have that
don't
conversation with
necessarily
the
have the
building
same plan that you have?
They do,
The building department has the same sketch that these people are?
yeah.
They give them this, so
Absolutely.
you're
Yeah,
the
it's
exact
the
same.
building, these all are initiated through a building permit, through the building department. And when they initiate a building permit, it goes through zoning, it goes through wetlands, it goes through engineering.
So it's the same plan all along?
Yeah, and
Okay.
it goes all through the cycle.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other questions for Jim? No? Okay. Building permit approvals, we discussed. Bond release, we have nothing this evening. Old business, in the wetlands, 369 XIW 13-06 Cooper Street drainage repair. Continued discussion and recommend AAA permit to be issued. Can you refresh our memories?
Okay, back in February, we talked about originally there was a inland wetlands permit number 369, and that was associated with Roach 2000 project to rebuild Cooper Street. And part of that original plan was to do a new outlet for the drainage at the end of Cooper Street. And I believe that was in 2001, 2002, somewhere like that. Yeah, it was about 11 years ago. They did that work that was installed under that permit, under 369. And then somewhere between 2002 and now, a part of that berm, part of the swell has a berm on one side. That berm failed, and the water is not going down the whole entire swell. It breaks off halfway and spreads out through the woods, and is causing erosion there. So the backstory of all this is that this particular piece of land is slated to be given to DEEP in exchange for them giving us land to finish the South River Street Bridge. When we did that bridge a couple years ago, we need some additional land off of that park that you were talking about. And they said, well, okay, we'll do that, but we'd like to have something in kind. And so it was decided that this piece could be given to them, to make the deal work. But they said the only thing is you have to fix the swell before we do that. So it was on us, the town of Enfield, to do that repair. And so what I did was I started XIW 1306, which would be a town wetland permit. So there's no fees associated with it. And that's what I come in to talk to you about on the 5th, saying something we wanted to do in the spring. Well, here we are in the spring. We're anxious to get going out there, and we are doing some work out there already. So what I'm asking for is if there's any concern other than, if there's any concerns, let me talk to you about it now. If not, I'd like to do a AAA approval, so we can have this all wrapped up.
Are there any questions for Jim? Anybody have any questions?
Thank
Okay.
you.
So, what do you need from us? A consensus? Do you need a vote?
Just let me know that it's okay to do a AAA and
Okay.
call it
How
done.
does everybody feel about that?
That's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
somebody make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve XIW 1306 for Cooper Street drainage repair by Jim,
Agent approval?
agent approval.
Okay, motion made by Joe. Seconded by Jill. All in favor? Okay. Next item on the agenda, new business. We have nothing this evening. Item 17A, AAA number 104, Hazardville Water Company, WICA Project 2013 Arbor Road Water Main Replacement, associated work within regulated area of Terry Brook. Submitted 4/29/13, received 5/7/13, PPE is 5/21/13, and MAD is 7/11/13. Is there somebody here this evening from Hazardville? Would you like to, yes? Just here to listen, okay, I didn't know if you had anything to contribute.
Correct me if I'm wrong, how's that?
Okay, Roby's recusing himself from this discussion. Okay, Jim,
Okay,
don't go far.
AAA 104 is an application that came in from Hazardville Water Company as part of their WICA Project 2013 to replace an existing water line that runs along Arbor Road, and it crosses over Terry Brook. And the plans that you have in your packet show that proposed work, and in particular, page 8 is the sediment erosion control sheet. And you can see in the plan view up on the top corner where the existing line is, and they're proposing the new line several feet in towards the center line of the street from the existing. What I'd asked the consultant to do when preparing the plans was provide me with some E&S notes, as well as protection of the catch basins in the area of the work, and you'll see those items are all on that plan. And under our list of things that fall under duly authorized agent approval, maintenance and repair of roads and infrastructure falls under that. So I assigned it a AAA 104, and unless we hear otherwise, we'll issue that permit.
Any questions from agency members? Joe?
I just have a question, an overall question for this whole project. I noticed that Northfield is on there also. Is there any intent to do any work on Columbia Road next year? Oh, the whole area will be done next year? Okay. I think that's it.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? No? Okay, is there, any discussion? Somebody want to make a motion then? To,
So that make a
Go.
motion that, Jim.
I make a motion that AAA 104 will fall under the AAA purview of Jim.
okay. Motion made by John Unger. Second by Donna. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, DPN 2013-04-30, Shaker Pines Fire District Number 5, Endangered Species Mitigation Work in conjunction with proposed development at North Maple Street and Mayfield Drive. Proposed activity within a regulated area, map 94, lot 062. Submitted 4/30/13, received 5/7/13, PPE 5/21/13, and MAD 7/11/13.
Madam Chair, I'd like to recuse myself from this application, please.
Okay,
You're going to have enough.
okay. For the record, Frank
Joe Marie,
Lawler
I'm
recusing
sorry,
himself.
the agenda's wrong. I left the part in there about Mayfield.
Nothing to
so-
do with Mayfield. I was kind of
Yeah, there was a revised agenda. I guess it didn't make it to the package. It was posted
I
online.
think she emailed it to us.
She
yeah.
emailed it, yes.
Yeah, I just didn't have it in me.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
So what it is the
Proposed
Shaker
development
Pines Fire District Number 5, and it's proposed activity within a regulated area. It's
Okay.
drainage repairs and parking lot improvements.
gotcha.
The dates are all accurate. Everything else is accurate.
Parking lot improvements. Okay, for the record, Roby's back as a full voting member. Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, Dana Steele, professional engineer with J.R. Russo and Associates. We're here this evening representing the Shaker Pines Fire District Number 5. The fire district approached me about preparing a plan initially for going out to bid for repaving their parking lot in their existing parking area. And then the scope expanded slightly, and there was some talk of other expansions. We decided it was best to come in and talk to the staff. And I'll be honest, when we first approached this, I didn't even think we needed to come to wetlands or anything, because we're just replacing an existing parking lot. But we did and discovered that there are wetlands within the area. There was an application, the last application I think that you might have seen was for the cell tower, when the cell tower went in. And so the wetlands were flagged at that time. The plan that we've submitted shows those flagged wetlands in green that I've colored on the plan. The 100-foot regulated area is the yellow line, and so the 100-foot regulated area does extend into the parking area, so this activity that we're doing is within that regulated area. So apparently I misunderstood. This should have been a AAA request and not a DPN. So we'll take care of the administrative part of that to correct that, and apologize for that.
Okay.
The proposal is to replace all the pavement on the site, replace the curbing, and install additional storm drainage. Currently, in this back corner, before you head back to the parking area in the back, right in this bend here, there's a low spot, and so puddles form there. So we're going to put in a drainage structure to take care of that problem. The pavement in the back is broken up. It's not holding up well, and after doing some investigations, we found that the problem is it's pretty wet there. The water table's high, and we concluded the solution is to put some subsurface drainage in. So we're putting in some under drains under the pavement, and then we'll be resurfacing it. So when we met with staff, there was some discussion about additional water quality measures that could be done. There's already when the site was developed, a particle separator of some sort at the outlet down near the entrance to the site. And we looked at some possibilities of putting in a wet pond or something in the lawn area along the side. And after just going back and forth, we decided that the amount of impact that it would have to your regulated area wouldn't justify the amount of improvements. And we're essentially just putting back what's there. We're not expanding. This is just sort of a maintenance, and we felt that it was just a lot to ask to put in a basin, a wet pond, which would have to have an outlet, which would have to go into the wetlands, which would involve some wetland disturbance. While wet ponds are good, they do provide improved water quality. We felt that it was just excessive for this. So there was some discussion about that. Ultimately, we chose not to propose that, and we're hoping that will be acceptable. There's also new lighting being put in. I'm not sure if it has any impact on the wetlands, but there's lighting there now. We're going to put in new lighting, a few extra poles, so it'll be a little brighter. And there's a sidewalk going in the front. here, but that's outside the regulated area. So essentially, the regulated activities are pavement replacement, new curbing, drainage installation under drains for the purpose of stabilizing the pavement, some additional light poles, and that's it.
Okay. So you're just repairing, really, and some subsurface drainage?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not
Everything's
expanding the
being- Other
footprint?
than a couple extra light poles and a sidewalk, which is outside the regulated area, there's nothing new.
Okay. Okay. Jim?
I agree. We had a lot of discussion on this. Data came in, I was kind of pushing for a pond or some kind of a bioretention area. What we found, you couldn't control it without building a berm on the edge. It was gonna run off into the neighbor's property. And we didn't think that was worth the risk of having it back up onto the neighbor's property or to do something else. That's down near the corner there.
I was also surprised how far the wetlands come out into the,
Right.
into the lawn area,
Right.
so there's limited area to
So the
work.
volume of water, we also asked Dana to look at the volume of water by adding another catch basin. Are we collecting more water? Well, we're not. It's the same water, just getting to the end a different way. So from a hydraulic standpoint, there's no concern there either. You do have a separator down there? Is it called out on here?
It's one of those double structures. It's got a catch basin in front of the curb and there's a manhole behind the curb.
So there's a weir in it?
So if you look at, yeah, exactly. So if you look at the design plans from when it was built, it was a baffled structure.
Okay. Is there a maintenance plan on here for that structure?
No, I could be happy to add that.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I would ask, to add a maintenance plan to these drawings. So if we approve it, we approve based on these plans and that the amended plans that have the maintenance plan on there.
It looks like they're doing pretty good maintenance because it's a clean site.
It's just something we want to put on the record so we have something to enforce. So, no, I would suggest that we approve this as a AAA. Again, I seem like we do a lot of that, but it is very minor amount
No
of work.
disturbance.
Yeah, just pipes and new pavement. Sill fence is on here, it's in the right places.
Is there any questions from the agency members?
Yeah.
Right ahead, Roby.
Just a suggestion. Do you remember 7 Angina Drive?
Mm-hmm.
Where we put the underground drainage?
Yes.
Do you think it would be good for the fire department? I mean, blacktop's very expensive. And
No,
if it's
that
happened now, do you
that
think
was
there's
a
going to be
subs-
enough
that-
drainage?
That was a subsurface detention system, and in that case, the soil was suitable for letting the water get away. If we put something like that therein, I think even the town engineer was interested in seeing some type of detention system, even though it was a small increase. But if we put something like that in here, the groundwater would just rise up and just fill it up. It wouldn't serve any purpose. The groundwater is just too high.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Could you explain, please, what Roby's talking about here? You made reference to some earlier situation.
It was mine,
He
actually.
was asking about the possibility of using subsurface detention or infiltration on this site. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept, but basically you have your catch basins and your pipes, and before outletting them from the site, you have them go into these large containers, galleys, sometimes they're made out of plastic, sometimes they're made out of concrete, large chambers underground that the water fills up in and has a place to store, and then you put a smaller pipe going out so that the water goes out slower and thus reduces the peak rate of discharge. If the soils are good, you even have the added benefit if it goes back into the ground and you can reduce runoff. So, and accommodate, mitigate for any increases in volume of runoff. So it's a good thing when the soils permit it, but when you have a high water table, it doesn't serve any it doesn't work because the water, the base, it's always full. You know, it's, the water goes in and it goes right out, and if you put a reduced orifice, all it's gonna do is back up in the pipes and flood your parking lot. So, it's
I
great
was
when the
just thinking
soils
of that
permit.
because that's a little cheaper to keep replacing the blacktop, you know?
It's about 20 years.
Yeah,
now.
the pavement's about 20 years old, and most of it's in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bad.
It's, but the back is where we think that it really needed to have more subsurface drainage. So we're gonna put in perforated pipes so that the groundwater has a place to go and it can get out.
Right.
We
Okay.
think that'll help to reduce the frost heave.
Not a suitable use.
Sorry, Roby.
Any other questions?
None for me.
Okay, any discussion? No? Okay. So I guess do we want to let this go as an agent approval? To me, it seems like they're just repairing, doing a little curb work, and they're not changing the character of the wetlands at all. Actually
The
adding some-
AAA thing sounds good.
Okay, so is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve DPN 2013-04-30, agent approval.
Okay, motion made by Joe,
Second.
seconded by Roby. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Other business, Heritage Farm condos maintenance permit extension.
That's up to you, if you want
Well,
to have some more
I mean,
discussion
you and I
on
had
that.
a little discussion before the meeting. That is in our regulations that is an administrative function.
Administrative function,
Um,
correct.
So maybe we should just let it be an administrative function.
Okay.
I don't see why we need to really do much more at this point.
Do we want to add more, do we think that the regulations are clear enough and defined enough of what is allowed under that when it comes to maintenance of detention and retention structures?
Can you do me a favor, pull that out, because not all of us have the regulations tonight. Can you pull out, and in our next packet, put that part, so that we can have that for discussion in our next meeting?
Okay, we'll
Maybe we can
do.
go over exactly,
Something we got at one time also.
these are the regulations, you don't have them? Yeah, everybody should have had a different color binder.
Yeah, at one time I gave everyone a copy so we could, Donna has her.
Everybody has one. They may not.
Okay.
And if you don't have them, let me know, and I'll be glad to make another copy, but I think it's important that we have them handy for discussion and for
Right.
reference at these meetings.
So at least we can discuss that portion of it at our next meeting.
Okay, I'll bring some more copies, and if you can, whoever doesn't have them, well,
Are they online as well?
they're all, yes, they're
Right.
online, yep.
So, okay. Inland wetlands, watercourse, no A again, official map update discussion?
No change on that. Again, I had a draft plan that we shared. I can give everyone copies of that again.
I have it.
See if there's a couple of them out there.
Okay. So our thoughts at the last meeting were to discuss if there was any areas that we thought we needed to have maybe North Central take a look at. Has anybody given any thought to that?
We were going to visit them in the spring when it might be wet. It hasn't rained in a couple of weeks, so we may have to delay that a little
Well,
longer.
it's gonna rain, and,
Yeah,
it's,
so-
it's a good time to go out and look around.
Are there, okay, because you were so involved in this map, Jim, I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know how many miles Enfield is, but are there certain areas that you are questioning that maybe we can go out and see?
Oh, yeah.
Instead of just taking a stab in the dark?
Yeah, I have a couple ones that, when you look at what was on the old map and what's on the new map, obviously the ones that are in the middle of a subdivision that was built in the 50s or 60s,
Right.
I'm okay with removing those from the new map. Some of the areas that were off the beaten path, for lack of a better term, that all of a sudden disappeared, those are the ones I'd like to look at a little closer to see what really happened there, what's going on. Why don't the two maps line up? And I think one of them is right along 91, along Freshwater it Freshwater Boulevard? No, yeah, Freshwater Boulevard. The industrial park there. A large piece of that was not on it. And that's one place I like to poke around. Now, it may be because it's classified as urban now. You know, it might be, the soils might be classified as urban disturbed because it was an industrial park. But it hasn't been developed. And obviously there are still some wet areas in there. And we have mitigation areas in them. You know, there's in that one particular, for the Hampton project, for 20 Phoenix.
Right.
It's Phoenix Avenue, I'm sorry, that's what I'm thinking of, Phoenix Avenue. You know, we have ongoing mitigation in there. We have these ponds and wildlife areas. So that's one area that I'll have to make sure it gets back on there. Is there other ones? I don't know. That's what we're,
So what is the answer to this? I don't know what our next step would be.
you know, I think, you know, all of us could do a better job than just one of us. If there's particular areas that you're familiar with, take the map, you know, and explore that area.
But I'm not a wetland scientist, so I
No,
don't
but I
know.
mean, you'd be able to at least look at it and say, hey,
There's a
maybe,
subdivision here right now and
yeah, or, you know, there's,
we looked at.
it still looks like there could be possibility of a wetland. You know, I'm not looking for a definite answer, but is it, looking for places to go and get more, you know, have David Askew or some other soil scientists go out and actually look at them.
Okay,
You know, so we're looking for places to send them.
okay.
You know, I think that's part of our charge. That'd be our due diligence to do that, to do some actual field testing or field verification, we'll call it.
I have a question.
So if someone wanted to build a building over there, what could we tell them?
Well, again, this map is just a guide, and as always has been, and it always will be. The big disclaimer on top says that. If someone comes in for development, regardless, we're going to ask them to bring in plans that are signed or not signed by a soil scientist that says that there are or are not wetlands on the property. That isn't going to change. You know, so any kind of large-scale development, even residential development, is going to be required to show wetlands or a note that says there aren't any. And who says that? You know, by a soil scientist saying there isn't any wetlands. You still have that, but again, it's just a overview. And you know, many times people come in and they say, well, you know, according to your map, it's wet or it isn't wet. And I say, well, that's again just a compilation of various information. It's not 100% accurate. It's to be used as a guide, and any defined activity would have to still be flagged by a soil scientist. So keep it in, you know, have to
All
keep
right,
it
so
for
in
what
our
it is.
travels, we should just keep an eye out and
So if we get
mention any.
if we get a big company coming to town, we need 20, 30 acres or 200, I mean, and 300 acres. Oh, we got it over there. It's in the industrial park.
Well, before we did that, we should do our homework and check it out.
Okay.
Is there like a state map of wetlands, Connecticut, state of Connecticut, or Yukon has?
Basically what you have there.
That's it.
It's based on the soil survey of 2007, done by the USDA, and that's what I used for the update.
Okay.
Because the previous information was the 1961 soil survey. So,
But like you said, it's just a guide still.
just a
Right.
guide. And again, those soil surveys are not done on the foot-by-foot basis. They were done in broad strokes, maybe quarter mile, maybe half mile interval in testing. You know, they didn't test every inch. They went, dug a hole and said, this is this, and then drove a mile away and dug another hole and said, yep, this is this soil. And they went back and they took a map out and they plotted all those holes and said, well, this one's kind of similar to this one, so maybe the line is somewhere in between these two. There's a lot of interpolation. And that's how those broad kind of surveys are conducted. It's not a detailed survey. But the 2007 would be more accurate than the 1961.
When you put those two maps side by side, do you see a difference?
Yeah, and that's what you have.
Right,
And
that's what you
these
passed
maps-
out to us, right?
Yeah. And the two colors show that. And that's why, that's what we're talking about, is these ones that all of a sudden disappeared between 61 and 2007. I think we have to figure out why. Well, not every one of them, but get an idea if there's something astray. You know, we don't want to just blindly adopt it and say, yeah, this is the new map, it's great. It's still just a tool. We
Right.
want to make it as useful as we can. can't say we make it more accurate. We're not gonna make it more accurate. We're gonna make it more useful. So,
Thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? No. Joe, I think Joe had a question. Normally, somebody, I don't know, I think it was Jose, used to put in front of us a budget before it went in front of, he just give us an idea of where we were. I don't think, did we vote on it? We didn't vote on it. Did we vote on it, Roby? But he used to say, okay, this is what we were this year, this is what we are going forward, just so we had an idea. I don't think we've ever,
I'm not involved in the budgeting at all,
Okay.
the numbers, but I can get you the information.
I know that we've had it in the past, but I just don't,
You know, I know we do have
not really a major concern of
some,
mine, but
you know,
I
we're,
think we were $1,300 or something.
yeah,
It's
we're
not-
good in our, I know we are good in our budget. We haven't, you know, just towards the end of the year, a lot of departments are low on funds and different, you know, different accounts. We're not. We're good. You know,
Good.
we could hire Dave Askew, or we could go on a big field trip. I don't know what we're gonna, you know, I don't,
Pizza party?
you know, we still can make copies. You know, making copies is not a problem. We still have some money to make copies.
The legal,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
we can put legal ads in the paper. That's not an issue.
Okay.
So, I mean, the whole budget's only $2,600, $3,600, I think,
Yeah.
something like that. I think that's what the number is. I think we have $1,200 left,
Okay.
$1,300, which is.
all right.
you know,
A question. You had mentioned with our work later, we may hire a soil scientist. Is that budget
Consult.
adequate to hire somebody to go out?
Yeah,
I don't think it would be.
Well, I mean,
They're, you know,
we
just from
have-
past experience, very expensive.
I believe that we have an agreement with
Dave Askew.
Dave
with Dave Askew, and I think I don't know how that. We are members of their group, which
Right.
entitles us to so many consultations. I guess does
Right.
that sound accurate? And after some basic consultations, then there will be additional fees based on the hours of work. But we do pay them out of our budget annually. I don't know, I think it's a couple $100, so that we are part of their group and that they are they are a resource for us to use. So if we don't use them at all, then it's really kind of a wasted item. So I think we do have some, you know, some resources to use.
Well, going forward in the next fiscal year, do you think it would be prudent if we should ask for more money in the budget if we're going to take on this map?
Yeah, I don't.
Do you have any
Yeah, I
thought
don't-
about how much you would need their services?
We're talking about a day. I mean, if we can take one of these maps and all kind of come together on where we want to look around, I would envision spending a day, maybe half a day to 3/4 of a day with David or whoever we decide to go with, and visit those sites. And he would take a couple quick augers and do his soil scientist part and say yay or nay, and it would be a day's worth.
So not a large scope
No,
project that you
no.
envision, okay.
You're actually gonna get what you got already.
We ask for less money if we are not spending it each year.
Should we ask for less money? Never.
Less money.
Never.
We don't ask for anything. That would be the higher-ups.
Yeah.
No, I think it's, the
there's-
state does some work on this, right? I mean,
No, no. It has its level of accuracy. You know, it was prepared for a purpose. It's a
And-
soil survey.
I'm sure a day isn't gonna tell us where every little piece
No,
of
and
wetland.
it never will. And
So
that's-
we're gonna get exactly what we got now. Why?
Well, I think it's important that we at least go out there and check some areas, just so we.
We did our due
What, don't you-
diligence.
Aren't you a soil scientist?
I am not a soil scientist. No. I am not.
Yeah, I agree, I think it's important.
And we've never had a soil. I think Katie was the last soil scientist that we had.
Katie?
Katie was the last soil
On the end of her,
scientist. Okay.
it wasn't when she came in.
Okay.
She was just going to school, then she became one.
Right. And that's not a requirement to be in this position, as I know, unless that changes.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, our next regular meeting's Tuesday, May 21st, 7 o'clock in the council chambers. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Frank,
Seconded by Joe.
Seconded by Joe. All in favor? We're adjourned.